Hello, fellow philosopher. I am so glad you're here today. We're going to be taking a look at an issue that has plagued humankind from the very beginning. And today, it might look something like this. It's 2 a.m., and you're lying in your bed running through a conversation that hasn't happened yet. Your heart's racing. Your mind is showing you worst-case scenarios like a movie you can't pause. And you know it's irrational. You know it. But knowing that doesn't stop the damn thing. Here's what I want you to know. People have been dealing with this exact problem for thousands of years. And some of them, some very wise, very practical people, left behind suggestions that actually help. Not quotes on a mug, but real mental tools. Things you can use when fear has its grip on you and it won't let go. There's a guy named Epictetus, born a slave, spent years with his legs in chains. If anyone had reasons to be afraid of the future, it was him. And here's what he figured out. And I'm going to say it like a friend would say it over coffee, not like a philosopher giving a lecture. Most of your fear comes from trying to control things that were never yours to control. Think about that for a second. You're afraid of losing your job. Can you control the economy? Can you control your boss's decisions? No. But you can control how prepared you are, how you show up, what skills you build. You're afraid of what people think of you. Can you control what's in someone else's head? No. But you can control your character, your actions, the kind of person you choose to be. Epictetus wasn't saying, don't care. He was saying, put your energy where it actually matters. Because freedom, real freedom, begins the moment you stop demanding control over things that were never yours. So here's what happens. You start worrying about something. Your mind takes that worry and builds the entire universe around it. Seneca, Roman senator, playwright, and advisor to emperors, noticed that almost 2,000 years ago. And his suggestion was brutally simple. Most of what you're afraid of hasn't happened, and most of it never will. He put it like this. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, as a friend. Think about the thing you're most afraid of at this moment. Got it? Now, ask yourself 3 questions. Has this actually happened yet? What evidence do you have that it will? Are you reacting to reality or a story your mind wrote? I do this myself. And almost every time I realize the monster in my head is 3 times the size of anything that's real in the world. That doesn't make the fear disappear, but it does shrink it. It gives you some space to breathe, and sometimes space to breathe is all you need to take the next step. Now, let me tell you about Aristotle. And I want to be careful here because this one gets misunderstood a lot. Courage is not the absence of fear. That's not what courage means. Aristotle said courage sits between 2 things. Cowardice, too much fear, paralyzed by it. And recklessness, not enough fear, charging in blind. Courage is in the middle. You feel the fear, and you move anyway. This is important because a lot of people, maybe you, think something is wrong with you because you're afraid. You think brave people don't feel what you feel. But they do. They just don't let the feeling make the decision. Think of courage as a decision, not an emotion. It's not something you wait to feel. It's something you choose every single time. The fear shows up. It always shows up. But you look at it and say, I see you, I hear you, and I'm moving forward anyway. Now Socrates, he was annoying. That was kind of his thing. He spent his day walking around Athens, asking people questions they didn't want to answer. But here's why that matters for your fear. Most of your fears are built on assumptions you never actually examined. You assume you'll fail. You assume people will judge you. You assume the worst case scenario is not only possible, but probable. Socrates will look at that and say, "How do you know that? How do you know this fear is justified? What actual evidence supports it? Could you be wrong?" I'm not asking you to be a philosopher. I'm asking you to cross-examine your fear like a lawyer cross-examines a witness. Because fear is a terrible witness. It exaggerates. It shows the highlight reel of disaster that never will happen. When you start questioning it, really questioning it, it starts to crack. Not all at once, but enough to let some light in. Marcus Aurelius was emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the world, and he woke up every morning and wrote himself a note about how to be a decent human being. One of the things he kept coming back to, avoiding what you fear makes the fear stronger. Think about it. Every time you avoid something because you're afraid of it, what happens? The fear gets bigger. The thing itself stays the same size, but in your mind it grows and grows until it feels insurmountable. Marcus Aurelius had a different suggestion. Instead of asking, "How can I avoid this?" ask, "What's the right thing to do right now?" Not the comfortable thing, not the easy thing, the right thing. And then do that. Even if it's small, even if it's just one step. Because here's what happens. Action shrinks fear every single time. You take one step toward the thing you're afraid of, and it loses some of its power. It's still there, but it's smaller, and you're bigger. There's one thing I want to talk about, and it's the one most people don't want to name. Epicurus noticed something. A lot of our smaller fears, fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of being forgotten, have something underneath them, something bigger. And they all trace back in the same way to the fear of death. The fear that none of this matters, that everything ends. And his suggestion wasn't to ignore that fear. It was to look at it directly. He said, when you're alive, death isn't here. And when death arrives, you're not here to experience it. So why spend your one life, your actual, real, happening right now life, afraid of something that by definition you will never actually experience? I recently lost someone I loved very much. That experience has forced me to look directly at death. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. But here's the thing. Accepting what you cannot change doesn't make you passive. It gives you some freedom. Freedom to focus on what you can change, on what's in front of you, on the people you love, on the work that matters, on this moment right now. And that's not philosophy. That's just practical and profoundly human. All right, let's do a little experiment. After all, philosophy is just a bunch of words if you don't put it into practical use. Here's what I want you to do. Take one fear, just one, the one that's been visiting you most often. Got it? Now I want you to ask it 4 questions. Write them down if you can. 1. Is this something I can actually control? If not, what can I control here? 2. Has this disaster I'm imagining actually happened? Or am I in a movie my mind wrote? 3. How do I know this will happen? What actual evidence do I have? And 4. What's one small action I can take toward this fear? Not away from it, but toward it, right now. Go ahead and pause the video if you need some time. Maybe choose a small fear to start with. And really, take your time, because I'm going to take a 10-second coffee break. Okay, let's get started. Now that you have those answers in front of you, I want you to notice something. The fear probably hasn't disappeared, but it probably feels a little different, a little smaller, a little less in charge. That's not nothing. That's the beginning of something. Here's what I want you to take away from all this, not as a student of philosophy, but as a human being who's afraid sometimes, just like everyone else. Fear isn't a malfunction. It's not a sign that something's wrong with you. It's part of being alive. The question isn't, how do I eliminate fear? That is just not possible. The question is, how do I live well alongside it? 6 people who lived thousands of years ago spent their lives thinking about that question, and their suggestions still work. Not because they're ancient sayings to put on a mug, but because they're true, practical, humanly true. Focus on what you can control. Question the stories your mind tells you. Move toward what scares you, even a little. Courage is a decision, not a feeling. And the fear underneath all fears, it loses its power when you stop running from it. Now, philosophy thrives in conversation and argument. What fear showed up for you today? What did you write down? Please add your comment below. I read them all. If you found this helpful, I would appreciate it if you gave a gentle tap to the like and subscribe buttons. And above all, in all things and at all times, be a philosopher.